I've probably heard these words more time than I care to admit. They go something like this: I wish I had never been born. What if that were true? What if that expression were true of some of the great Bible people that we read about? What about Adam? If he had never been born, then we would be void of learning of the great climax of God's creation. When God brought man out of the dirt of the earth, the biblical account of creation would be lacking, for it would be without one of its main characters if Adam had never been born. What about Noah? If Noah had never been born, we would not have the privilege of knowing one of the great preachers of righteousness. We might miss out on the thrilling story of man's salvation on an ark, with the earth under the water, if Noah had never been born. What about David? What about if David had never been born? We would be bereft of seeing a boy become God's man, who became monarch of the chosen nation, a wonderful example of forgiveness following his adultery and murder, all the while being referred to by God as a man after his heart. We would not get to experience this knowledge if David had never been born. Jesus, what about him? What about if Jesus had never been born? Well, it would be impossible for us to come to know God. We would miss reading about the only sinless human being to ever walk on the earth. It would be impossible for us to understand the love of God. We couldn't be released from the bondage of sin or have the hope of heaven if Jesus had never been born. You and I are not the first to walk this earth. We certainly won't lead our families and numerous animals to an ark to be saved from a worldwide flood. We'll never be king. We'll never be able to live life perfectly. So what if you had never been born? Well, if you had never been born, then a classmate may never see a Christian example in speech and action and attitude. If you had never been born, then a teammate may never know about faith priorities over fun pastimes. If you had never been born, a young person may be clueless about how real men behave toward women or how holy women act in front of men. If you had never been born. If you had never been born, then a coworker may never know about the hope that is found in Christ. If you had never been born. What if you had never been born? The world can be a far better place with you in it. Today, consider going out and making it a better place. You see, you were born, and God has a tremendous purpose for your life. And that purpose ultimately can be placed under the umbrella of glorifying God, of honoring Jesus, and bringing souls to the Lord. I'm grateful that you were born. May God bless you. Have a wonderful week.